Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. I'm actually going to make you smile in this video because we live in, pretty unusual times. So my goal is to not only educate you, but in this video, I'm actually going to attempt to make you smile because I think we need to be able to we need to try and smile through this as best as we can. In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 important things to watch out for as the HEALS Act is going to be negotiated between the Republicans and the Democrats, between the House and the Senate. I'm also going to I'm going to give you a quick analysis of a recent press conference where a bunch of senators announced and talked about the HEALS Act, including Senator Mitch McConnell and Senator Chuck Grassley. So that was quite interesting. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for that. And then finally, I'll show you something that's going to make you smile because I do think, like I said, we need to try and look at the funny side of all of this. So, I try and make my wife smile as much as I can, and she doesn't think I'm very funny. I mean, if you want to see me funny, this is me funny. See, there you go. So I'm not much of a comedian, as you can see. So that's how I smile. I'm just kidding. But the 3 things to watch out for in this particular negotiation between the Republicans and the Democrats are: number 1, the employee retention credit. We really need to look at this. The good news is both Republicans and Democrats are actually on the same side about the employee retention credit. It's basically a tax credit for businesses that took a big hit with their revenue, that was shut down for an extended period of time, but are now bringing workers back. Now, as you know, restaurants, hotels, travel, entertainment, hospitality, those are the industries that have been badly impacted. Those are the industries that need the most amount of help. I personally feel travel will be the last to recover. I mean, usually my assistant books my business class flights all over the country, all over the world. She hasn't done any booking lately, and I'm definitely not traveling, and I'm not the only one. A lot of individuals are simply not traveling, but it's important for restaurants, for hotels, for those industries to start to come back. So that's where the employee retention credit is going to play a big role, as is the 100% deduction for expenses on meals, business deduction for expenses on meals, which is actually a part of the HEALS Act. The number 2 thing we need to actually really closely watch out for is the whole provision for independent contractors. Now, as you know about the PUA program that was part of the CARES Act, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, which was created for self-employed individuals, contractors, Uber, Lyft drivers, and normally individuals get their unemployment from states, and they were getting the $600 booster on top of that. The PUA program was specifically carved out as part of the CARES Act for self-employed individuals. Now, here's what some Democratic aides are concerned about, and this is reporting from Jeff Stein from the Washington Post, and this was actually from his Twitter feed. So what he said was some Democratic aides are actually concerned that about the unemployment benefit extensions, not only the cut to the benefit amount down from $600 a week down to $200 a week, and then the switch to the more challenging, the more technically arduous wage replacement program 70%, which I've covered in other videos on my channel, but they're concerned that the GOP bill, the HEALS Act, would actually increase reporting requirements significantly and could potentially shut PUA program recipients out of the program entirely. Now, we don't know for sure, we will find out, but this is a concern, and I'm confident that both the sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, will work it out. And the big one, and I was actually the first one to draw attention to this, I believe in all of YouTube, it was the no extension of the moratorium on evictions for renters. So the Democrats had actually originally called for more than $200 billion in renter and housing assistance. That's what they had called for, and the Democrats, they proposed nothing, nowhere near that amount. So I think that's going to be a point of contention as well. So with that being said, let's segue right into the recent press conference that was done by all the Republican senators who played a role in the creation of the HEALS Act, starting with the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, and then we'll get into, we'll look at what Senator Chuck Grassley, who's the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, what he had to say. Now, I read all the comments. I read most of the comments anyway. Now there are tens of thousands of comments, and Senator Mitch McConnell has been demonized, and a lot of people, don't like him very much. That's putting it mildly. When he started talking, I thought it was interesting to see his rationale for him waiting so long to come up with this next bill. A lot of individuals have said, hey, why didn't he act sooner? Why didn't the Republicans act sooner? So I think that when we look at this particular clip, which I'm about to show you right now, the Senate Majority Leader's underlying rationale is shown here, and he's specifically concerned about the debt of the country, because he did say the debt of the country is now approaching the size of our economy. It's been the largest since World War II. I want you to listen on your own and listen and judge for yourself to everything the Senate Majority Leader has to say. Let's listen.
Good afternoon, everyone. When the Senate last acted with regard to COVID-19 back in March and April, we had at that point added about $3 trillion to the national debt. We then, of course, ended up with a debt the size of our economy for the first time since World War II, which is in and of itself concerning. So I said I thought we needed to push the pause button, begin to see the impact of the CARES Act and related acts that passed during that period. See how we did when the economy began to reopen, and take another look at what the country needed in July. We, meaning Senate Republicans and the administration, have been consulting over the last few weeks to come up with a realistic proposal with what we think is an appropriate amount of additional debt to be added to the economy at this time. We think it is about $1 trillion, and we've allocated that in a way that we think makes the most sense for the country at this particular time. It will include liability insurance, which liability protections, which Senator Cornyn is going to describe here shortly. But let me just make it clear, there won't be a bill that passes the Senate that doesn't have this in it. There have already been 3,500 lawsuits filed. The country cannot stand an epidemic of lawsuits on the heels of the pandemic. We're already working our way through. So with that, I'm going to call on my colleagues who have developed the various component parts of our proposal, and I'm not certain who comes second.
So that was the opinion of the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on why they waited and what the rationale was with the HEALS Act. Now let's segue right into Senator Chuck Grassley. He's actually the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. He's a Republican from Iowa, and he talked about economic impact payments and unemployment benefits on top of the state unemployment insurance, and there's a somewhat comedic cell phone interruption towards the end of his discussion. Let's watch.
Number one, we're going to continue the economic impact payments that were made in April and May. That means that the average family of four will get another payment of $3,400. It includes just a few people that were unintentionally left out of the last one, mostly dependents, college, and adults that are somebody else's dependent. We extend additional unemployment insurance, and remember that's on top of whatever the different 50 states give, and on top of the economic impact statement I just gave. So we want to continue to help the unemployed, but we want to encourage work, and we've learned a very tough lesson that when you pay people not to work, what do you expect? And so this payment will be adjusted so that we have additional payments to help people for approximately 70 to 75% of their income. That's not me. I don't think so. Well, it sounds just like mine.
Now that was interesting. Now notice that at the end of that clip, Senator Chuck Grassley said, sounds just like mine. Apparently they don't change their cell phone ringtones a whole lot, I guess. So now let's get into the third segment, the third clip that I thought was worth looking into, and that was Senator Chuck Grassley talking about tax credits for businesses, which is essentially a version of the employee retention credit that I talked about at the start of this video. And again, I'm going to point out that he said that the previous cell phone that sort of interrupted the whole conversation sounded exactly like his, and you'll see why that's important in just a minute.
We're going to have further tax relief for businesses to encourage hiring and rehiring, and we want to do that to encourage people to get back to work and help the employer in the process, support people in the meantime, support patients in nursing homes, and and also foster youth, flexibility on how state and local governments can use federal relief funds, including an ability to use funds to cover revenue shortfall. And if somebody doesn't want me to get on television tonight, I know that. You gotta be kidding. Well, why didn't you tell me that? I'm embarrassed, I'm sorry. Lastly, I hope that Democrats will come to the table and we work out a bipartisan agreement. Thank you very much.
So there you have it. That was a clip I was talking about. So I have a question for you and I want you to comment about this in the comment section below. What happens when you're on national television talking about things that impact millions and millions of people who are unemployed, who are angry, who are frustrated, and your phone starts ringing in your pocket loud and clear and you don't know that your phone's ringing? What do you think about that? I'm just joking. That's not what I want you to comment about. Now, by the way, Senator Chuck Grassley, just so that you know, is 86 years old. And I'm not saying this to make fun of him. And I hope that, I'm functioning and I hope that I'm coherent at the age of 86. He was actually born September 17th, 1933. He is 86 years old. So for an 86-year-old senator to get, confused with a cell phone ringing, I mean, it happens. I'm pretty sure not a lot of us at 86 years old will be functioning with a high degree of coherence. I don't think I will be. I hope you learned something new from this video. If you learned something new, please click the like button. I would really appreciate that. Please also enable notifications and click the subscribe button so you get instant updates about future episodes of Ignition Time. I release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week, and a lot of effort goes into these videos, so I would really appreciate it if you take the time to please enable notifications, click subscribe, because that would mean a lot to me personally. If you would like breaking news and alerts from our channel, please get your cell phone out and using your cell phone, send a text message with the word ignition or the word time, whatever is easier for you, to 70,000. That's 70000. Remember, the name of our channel is Ignition Time. So send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, and you'll get breaking news and alerts from us. And you can opt out at any time. You'll also be asked to agree to a disclaimer when you give us your email, which basically says that you're giving us permission to contact you. And like I said, you can opt out at any time. Again, thank you so much for watching. This was an interesting alert. The HEALS Act is something that is going to be intensely negotiated between the Democrats and the Republicans, and I will bring you the latest in all the negotiations, and more importantly, I will transition you into a future beyond stimulus checks, beyond unemployment benefits, where you take control of your own finances, where you learn how to make more money, where you learn how to save money, and most importantly, where you learn how to invest money and grow money and build a life of wealth, independence, and freedom, which is what I've been able to do and which is what I'm going to teach you to do. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I will see you in the next video. Appreciate you. Bye.